Hello, and thank you for joining another episode of the Marketing Lab podcast. Today, I'm with Trevor Moore. He is the founder of a coaching academy called Virtual Coaching Academy, and he's going to tell us a little bit today about how he can help you get started on your business and your coaching program if that's something you're interested in with minimal tech. So thank you so much, Trevor, for being here today.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, Emily. It's great to be with you and great to chat with you. And when you reached out and talked to me about this, I was excited. This fits right into my wheelhouse. This is what I see each and every day is, helping new entrepreneurs, specifically teachers, coaches, consultants, and, service-based industries. And I help people get out of their own way and launch and deliver their programs. And we get through some of the keys. And one of the ones that really sort of jumped out to us was the conversation about limited tech or minimal tech. And I do want to chat about that today, but it really is perfect because it falls under the three core challenges that I see all new entrepreneurs go through when launching their online business. And the first one is delivery fears, right? They have those concerns that they don't know if they're going to be able to afford the tech. Are they going to be able to operate the tech? Do they know what they need to do to deliver? And even on the delivery side from structure, they don't know if they have the programming, the content, the packaging, the pricing that they need to make it make sense. And I see the delivery fears hold people back all the time. That is the root of all evil, so to speak, for many people. And then beyond that, they have a limited audience or a cold audience. They have no audience to talk to. And then they struggle with sales. They are uncomfortable with sales, which is super common. But that first breakthrough point is always the start, right? Everybody feels like they get on there and what they're doing is comparing themselves to the people they see on their Facebook or social media algorithms, which are primarily people who are paying for ads and who are experienced and been doing this for years. They compare themselves with that and think, I can't jump in, I can't do what they're doing. You don't have to. That's the good news. That's what they're doing after 10, 12, 15 years of experience. Amazon was started in a garage. So I'm pretty sure we can start just about any small venture in various ways. So keeping it minimal is such a great piece to start. I'm really excited to talk about that today.
And I love that about you, that you're there as far as, being somebody who's experienced it and done a coaching program, but understanding what it was like in the beginning, even for you. And that's something that I know a lot of people say that it's, where do I start is one thing, but also like, how do I set up the tech and the audience factor of it? Who do I talk to? But also I think an ironic thing that I've spoken with many business owners that might have a small business or maybe have published a book about a topic that they're, whether it's, I'm just thinking like it could have been something that it was a career, for example, for them, that they're well experienced in, whether it's like accounting, something in like clinical operations. I come from a healthcare background. So I've talked to some people that are like, hey, I'm wanting to do this book and put this together, but how would I open a business with that? So I think that that's one of the things, that it's the tech aspect, not knowing how to grow your audience and where to start. And then of course, setting things up to where you're nurturing that audience once you grow it. So could you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, 100%, right? And you're bang on, because I always call it, I look back to when I started my first business in 2000, it was a coaching academy. And I was looking back at it now, I was what I refer to as an entrepreneur by accident, which essentially meant I had skills from prior work, but I was using them working in the field, not working on a business in the field. And being an entrepreneur is different than delivering the coaching. Mm-hmm. And so many people have this passion. They've either been told they're very good at something, or they're skilled, or they're wise, or they have this experiential wisdom, or they have this training that they want to put forward. And they really struggle with the idea that working on my business and working in my business are two different things. And they begin to realize real fast that they were trained to work in their business, but they don't have the training they need to work on their business, which is the entrepreneurial side. And it comes back to a variety of things. Let's look at the tech from a simple scenario. Honestly, from a simple delivery point, you're ready to go if you have a Wi-Fi connection, a cell phone, and a laptop. Honestly, virtually every service-based business can deliver with those three tools alone. Most of us are walking around with a phone in our pocket. Mm-hmm. There's Wi-Fi available all over the map, and just about everybody has a laptop of some form. And if you have those, you are golden. Can you ramp there? 100%. I mean, can you build a website? Can you do a Facebook page for your business? Can you run ads, put in funnels? 100% you can, but you don't need to start. That's the biggest thing. When we first start out, we just have to remember that if I have something to sell, I need to connect it with someone. That's the whole thing. Let's oversimplify for a moment. Get somebody connected to what I'm selling. It doesn't need a lot of grand stuff. And we can grow as our business grows. We can start adding more bells and whistles and polishing things up and getting better and really ramp it up. But remember that when people are looking at getting invested in your work, they're not, unless you are a video audio tech company, the quality has a very minimal benchmark you need to meet, right? You are not selling the quality of your video production per se. Again, unless you're in an industry that is relevant, then yeah, you better exceed the bar because that's your deal. But I mean, if I'm working on people with their self-care routines and habits or businesses launching, I don't need much more. I look at it the idea that I see people with the, well, what if I don't have, we've always got this one more thing. It's like, well, I need to package it and I'm ready to go. Okay, well, is it packaged? Well, kind of, but I need a website and I'm ready to go. Okay, well, now what? Well, now I need bookkeeping and I'm ready to go. There's always this next step, and that is us being our own villain. We got to get out of our way, because if you have something to sell and you have a way to speak to people, now you can be an email marketing campaign, it could be a social media marketing campaign. You don't have to pay for ads and do that stuff. If you have something to sell and you have a way to communicate with potential customers, that's half the battle. Once you secure a client through that method, you just need a way to accept payment. Each transfers work. PayPal is free with a minimal percentage based on your purchases. You can put this tech in basically for next to nothing to receive the payment. So if you have something to sell, you can communicate that with people, you can receive payments. All that's left is the delivery. And we're literally delivering right now, right? I mean, I know you can use Facebook Video Messenger to deliver sessions, Zoom, Skype. You can FaceTime if you have clients are on Apple devices. You just need a delivery mechanism, and it doesn't need to be anything grand. And we have those tools. Just about everybody I know, my 86-year-old parents have been on Zoom. Zoom is a tool that people know how to use. It's not that hard. Google Meet, just about all of those. And that is really the bare bones. From there, that's your foundation. And once you get really good at building a foundation and understanding, then it's like, okay, I'm going to go to camera switching devices, and I'm going to get telestration options and background options and lighting and sound microphones. Great. Don't think you need to out of the gates. You can build as you grow. Profit as you go along. You don't need to invest that money up front. And I see that all the time. People are so concerned. They're like, well, I don't have the money to invest to start up. What's the startup cost? There's really not a lot other than your time and energy, which is about figuring that basic out. So the tech is a big hurdle for people, but so too is the delivery from the content side. People get really stuck in this. I don't have enough content to put a program together. I don't have enough. I guarantee you do.
I know, it's true. They do.
100%, right? The thing that I find so interesting is that people miss the complete point. And that is, the value we present to our clients is not in the volume of information we can throw at them. It's in the clarity we can provide for them.
That's
which is
exactly
quite the opposite of hammering content down their throat a million different ways. We don't need as much content as you think. It is always way less than you believe. And that is such an important piece to remember, is that if you can get people from A to B, you've got something, you're ready to go. Because that's what we do, right? When we start a business, we're not selling products, we're selling solutions to someone's problem. And if we can find them and meet them and we understand their problem and we can walk them to the solution side of that problem, we have something of value to them and we have something to put out there. And it's important to get out and play with it and and work with it. The more you're talking with people, the better you get with your offer, your pitch, the better you get with your packaging and pricing and understanding. But just start, right? That's a huge one.
I think so too. And I loved how you said also that a lot of times people compare their beginning to somebody else's, chapter 30, so to speak, where they're looking at, the people, for example, maybe in their exact industry that have done, this amazing, website, and they have everything built out and it looks grandiose. And yes, that's the ultimate goal. We would all love that. But at the end of the day, I feel like don't let that factor limit you from getting started. So that's a powerful one there. Also,
absolutely.
No, go ahead. No, I was going to say, can you also, in your coaching program, and I know you were talking about how there's kind of like a simple 3-step framework that you've built out. Can you elaborate a little bit more? And I know you already touched on it, but I think that that's something that if people feel like, hey, I don't know the next steps to either get started or say they're already on step 2 and they have started, but to go to the next level, what does that look like so they have a roadmap to keep proceeding? So.
Yeah, for sure, right? And really, let's go back to the 3 basic challenges, and it really comes down to, again, the delivery confidence, right? If we can get you really comfortable in understanding who you serve, the problems you solve, the process you're going to use to get them there, and as well as understand your value and your worth to them, you can price it, package it, put it together in a way that once you start to lay it out and get really good at figuring out that piece, like once you see who you help, and once you see how you can help them, you can see the map or the success path right in front of you, it gets very easy to really understand that there's value and get confidence in what you're doing. So really those delivery fears or delivery concerns at the beginning are negated by finding clarity. Clarity breeds confidence, quite simple. And when you get really clear with what you're offering and you really start to understand its value to your clients, it gets very, very confident building. You really get moving. And then we move to that second phase is once you have something, once you've packaged and priced something and you're ready to offer it, you need a group, you need people to talk to, you need somebody somewhere, you need an audience. We have lead flow issues, right? People don't have an audience when they start. They don't have an email list. They probably don't have a Facebook group. They don't have a website. Well, they're going to have to start collecting them in some capacity. An easy way to do it is a Facebook business page or a Facebook group is very effective because it's highly effective and engaging. Facebook groups are great ways to start building your own audience, but you don't need to build them in your own realm at first, right? You can leverage other people's audiences. There's tons of great groups out there. And really, when you look at the whole idea of building an audience of raving fans that will engage with you, your content, your offer, it's really about letting people know, A, that you exist, and B, just they learn to like that you are, operating in a way that they like. And it's not about sales yet. So building an audience is about networking. And you can hop in other people's groups, answer questions that people are posting, and advice, and be helpful, be of service. And you're really walking through the know and like factor, which moves to the sales side, which is the trust. But spend that time networking. And when it comes to audience building, don't overthink it, right? If you were networking in an offline setting, let's say 20 years ago, before the internet was a huge thing for us in our world, we would network at face-to-face events. We wouldn't walk in and hand some a business card and say, hey, do you need XYZ? Call me. No, you would shake hands. How are you? Hey, nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. What do you do for fun? Oh, nice. Are you from the city? What did you do for a living before? What do you do now? We would get to know them, right? Because there's that old saying, nobody cares what you know until they know you care. And we've got to see as somebody that we want to build into our circle first before we can ever try to sell to them. So building a group of raving fans is really just about being present. It's about being there, talking, and being supportive. And you do that through, I use a 3-step process, which is really just, it's connect, converse, and create. And really from the social media side of the puzzle, connect with people, get to shake virtually shake as many hands as possible, and then converse with them. Don't sell, converse, ask about what they're doing, comment on their stuff, see where they are. Get a relationship building so that when they see a notification with your name, they're like, oh, I wonder what Trev's got to say. And that's all you're doing, building that audience. And then eventually you get into the marketing side of that puzzle. You're creating content, and content is created last. And it comes out of the connections and the conversations you have where you're like, okay, this is a question that keeps popping up in all the groups I'm in. This is something my target audience is concerned about. I'm going to shoot a video or create a piece of content that answers or solves that problem. And now I share that with my list or in my group or on my business page. So you're connecting, conversing, which really just organically helps you create. And now you're going, you know me, you like me. Do you trust me enough to sign up for a lead magnet or join my group? Here's the content. And that's that simple process to build the leads. Let's not overthink it, right? And then the final sales. And sales is interesting. There are really 2 schools of thought on sales. There's that laid back, slow, steady, and then there's that aggressive, how can I get you into this car today? And so many people are scared of sales because they can only see that one side of sales. But when you do sales well, the transition from marketing to sales, it's almost impossible to know where marketing has ended and the sales process began. Do you know what I mean? Because it's you're talking to someone, you've qualified that they are somebody that could utilize your services, you've appealed to them, you've helped them, you've connected with them, and they feel real good with you. And now all of a sudden they have a question and it's really easy to go, that's great, it's a long answer. Can we hop on a call? I'd love to explain it to you. And now you're starting that sales process. And that sales process is really walking people through, hanging the dangling carrot. We don't immediately go into sales in a sense of the call to action to buy the product. The call to action should happen 3 times. The call to action is not always sales. The first one is, can we hop into a direct message? That's a call to action. It's not asking for $1, but it's saying, you trust me enough to hop on a call with me knowing I'm not gonna hard sell you. And if you get past that barrier, then it's great. Now it's one of those, this was really good. Can I grab your email address? I'd love to send you a couple PDFs. Do they trust you to give an email address? And then it's, we book a sales call, but it's this process of breadcrumbs where people often come into the sales idea and it's like, here's what I have to offer. Do you want it? And it's like, hang on. And I use the analogy of dating. I mean, if you showed up to your first date with the wedding album and you're like, here's what our colors are, here's somebody to be like, probably no second date, we're done. How about we have a coffee, and then a coffee leads to a lunch, and a lunch leads to a supper, which is a little more intimate, and then eventually it's a date night at a movie or a concert, and eventually it's I'll cook you a meal at my house, and then eventually we are going on a vacation together for a weekend, and it builds as we go. That's the sales and marketing process. We're just dating our clients and our leads. Quit trying to marry them on day one.
That's exactly right.
Nobody likes that.
No, but I love that analogy that you said, because a lot of times I do think that people have this, I have a great program, but they have like this apprehension that, I don't want to sell it, and I don't want to come across as like, too overbearing or anything like that. But that's one of the things that I look at too, that it's like when you truly have a solution to a problem that you're solving for people, it's almost like a disservice or an injustice almost to not give them the solution whenever you have that in hand. So that's the other side of it. When you're truly providing value, it's not, yes, it's sales, but at the end of the day, it's not like that. I just hope they buy something from me side of things. It's more of like wow, I have the solution to their problem. I cannot wait to tell them about it. So that's another aspect.
100%, right? Anybody that has a cash register and collects money in a business of any form is in sales, whether they want to believe it or not. There's a moment where that happens. But
right.
the best example I can give is my dentist. My dentist doesn't cold call people. My dentist doesn't hard sell me. I have a pain. He can get rid of it. Let's talk. Let's get you in for an assessment. Give you a quote. Let's fix that pain. When you are organically aligned and you know who you serve and what you solve for them, it's really a case of sales is not about pulling them in. Sorry, it's not about pulling them in or wrangling them in. It's about opening the door for them to arrive. It really happens quite naturally when you relax and you settle into it. When you know your service worth and when you know what you provide, you're right, it is a disservice, right? One of my very first mentors said to me, and there's a couple of quotes that I love from my very first mentor, and one was that, because I was struggling to launch and grow and really, really dive in, because it's scary, right? It's terrifying to put yourself out there. And he said to me, Trev, I guarantee you there's someone out there less qualified than you doing the very thing you want to do, only because they've chose to do it scared and get better as they go.
That's amazing.
And I was like, wow, okay. And you know what? He's not wrong. There are people out there that are not nearly they're good. They're not nearly as qualified as you want to believe. They're good. They're great, but they've moved forward in spite of the fear.
That's right.
Where there's people who are on the backside who are way more qualified that can't even get out of the gates because they're just scared. And when you are serving or you're solving something for somebody, you're right, you're doing a disservice. We are all in, when we're in service-based industries, so often it's a passion. It's something we relate to, we've experienced, or we've been on the fringe of experiencing with someone else. And it's one of those, we don't want other people to experience the pain, the loneliness, or the challenge that we did or somebody else did in that moment. And we want to be there for them in that. And we have wisdom that we can package and sell. And if we don't put it out, every day we don't put that out there is a day that someone else is unnecessarily struggling.
That's right.
Unable to find an answer. And it's one of those, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for them. Because they need you in their world. I am not where I am today without a world of teachers, coaches, and mentors in my world. I'm not. Anything I didn't do without a teacher, coach, and mentor that I may have, white knuckled it through and got there, it cost me way more time, energy, and money than I ever needed to. I might have been successful, but it didn't have to be that hard. I could have looked at it. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to find someone that knows how to make the wheel and pick their brain a little.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I was talking, and it's funny that you say that. I was talking with somebody, actually, I think that was yesterday, and she was saying to me, she said, you know what, I've known how to do all these things for a long time, but until I paid a coach and started listening and got some sort of mentorship, she said, I never took action and did it because I didn't realize, the amount of knowledge that she did have. And then it was like, she goes, I think I was just being lazy and just felt nobody really needs me, and putting her calling on the back burner. And she realized, she goes, until I actually paid and talked to somebody about it, and they said, why aren't you doing this? And she realized, I have all those things, like you were saying about the technology, in your back pocket, so to speak. And she did it, and she's seen incredible success just in her first couple of months. And I thought, how funny, because she knew what to do. She knew how to execute and implement. She had the industry knowledge. She hadn't done it until she got a coach. So I thought that was really interesting. So it's funny you touched on that too. So that's amazing.
Yeah. And it is so important, right? Sometimes we are so close to our challenges that we can't see them. And I would use the example of my medical doctor. Medical doctors have doctors. Why? Because they can't give themselves a legitimate assessment of what they're looking at because they're too emotionally tethered to it. They're too close to it. Sometimes you need someone else to point out your blind spots and also say, you're worrying unnecessarily about this. This is not the problem you think it is. we need to go over here, right? And there's a hurdle that I find so many people get stuck in, because we're in this information age where with the 10 or 12 finger strokes on a keyboard, we can have an answer to a solution or to anything we want, and we're overwhelmed by information. We are overwhelmed. There's no reason, with the access to information we have today, that society isn't happy, healthy, and wealthy, walking around with six-pack abs everywhere. Because if we could need is available free on Google. It's not the information as much as it's someone helps us put the information in order and make it make sense, right? It's that puzzle. Which piece is the most important? Well, some people say the corners, some say the border. I think the most important piece is the picture on the box. If someone tells me what it's supposed to look like, I can't put it together anyway. And that's what a coach does. They help you paint that picture. They help you find the clarity of the mission at hand and help you stay on track. Because inevitably, I always say as a coach, my job is to get people concentrating more on the things that matter so they worry less about the things that don't. And we're not qualified to know what to worry about when we're starting out. We really aren't. We need someone to go, no, not yet. And ads are a great example, right? The starting out with low tech. People think they need a website. Well, maybe to get to the next level. Sure, absolutely. Running ads, totally viable. They're incredible. But ads just amplify your messaging. And if you're not comfortable and confident with your messaging, you're just going to pay to spit it out louder in an emptier room. It's not the answer yet. You need to refine the little fundamental keys and really get into those. And that's what happens as a coach really kind of helps you tap the brakes, slow down, and make sure you don't bypass any of the fundamentals. And then the sky's the limit. Once you build a foundation, the sky's the limit. It's really what you want to invest and what you want to do really can determine how fast and how much you want to grow. But you need to figure out how to get it moving.
That's right. That's amazing. I think you have definitely refined the ability to connect. I think that's amazing. Like, I don't know if you know that or people tell you that, but I think that, just having that comfortability and speaking about your experience and the things you've done and where you were at the beginning, that's a hard thing because nobody really wants to admit, hey, I struggled too in the beginning and it was hard for me. So I love that. I love, you being open and honest about that too. Well, are there any other things that you would like to add? I'll put the links in the comments for anybody that would like to reach out to you. But what would you say to anybody that's wanting to maybe reach out to you, talk to you, determine if they should do a program, something like that?
For sure, I would say this about any coach on the planet. At the end of the day, don't think you have to jump into a program. The first thing you want to do is get on a call with the coach. And I call it a compatibility call. Bottom line, we have to feel a connection. And as a coach, if I hop on a call with you and we do a compatibility call and I don't feel a connection, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not sure this is the right answer. Because coaches have a personality, and that personality needs to jive with you. They need to help you stay confident. I mean, some people are super intense, and the way they go as coaches, it's rah, rah, rah. That's not my style, and my clients don't need that. They need a little more calm approach. But there's some people that really need that rah, rah to get moving. That's your coach. It doesn't matter who you're looking at in a coaching world. Ask if they offer free compatibility calls and spend some time on a call, because you might not like the sound of their voice. You might not like the clothes they wear, their sense of humor, or the way they describe things. And that is totally cool. But you need to have that conversation. Back to the dating thing. Date them. Just ask to go for a coffee. And spend your time there before you decide if you need to get into their program. And, I do compatibility calls all the time. And some of them, people are like, yeah, it didn't feel right. No big deal. I totally get it. Maybe I can help you find the person that feels right. What was missing for you? Hey, I've got this friend. They're great. That's a great way to continue to build your fans and network. So getting on that compatibility call is great, because that coach can help you, whether they're the coach or not. They will possibly help you find the right person for you, or get you started and let you know. So I would really start with a compatibility call. You can book compatibility calls through my website. And just start with there. It's just a quick 10-minute call just to get to know one another and help me understand where your challenges are and answer questions for you so that you can decide whether I'm the person for your journey. Sales is not about me deciding and telling you I'm the person for the journey. That's not a recipe for success. It has to feel good on both sides, and it's a relationship. Bottom line, it is a relationship. You need to trust your coach. You need to feel good about it and feel good about working with them. So I would just say start by hopping on a compatibility call with any coach, whether that's me or otherwise. But you can book compatibility calls through my website, or you can just private message me and ask me to send you the link, and you can book a compatibility call anytime, and we can chat and see where you're at and see if I'm the person for you.
Awesome. I love that. That is so great. I know so many people get so much value from this. And if you haven't connected with Trevor already on social, like I said, I'll put the links in. You can connect with him, reach out to him, ask any questions. If you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer as well. But I think Trevor is doing an amazing job at his coaching academy and just helping other people really find the way based on his experience. So thanks so much for joining today, Trevor.
Thank you so much for having me, Emily. It's been great.